If we were to get specific in terms of just, so you talked about that binary tenure decision, which is obviously a big incentive looming large on many people. It could be said that our field has put substantial emphasis on the quantity, in that we typically count A publications when it comes to tenure, rather than the quality of the paper. And this differs from other fields where, to win a Nobel Prize, it's about that one paper or those two papers. Do you have any thoughts for this? Is this something that should trouble us? Is this something where perhaps there's a role for deanly action, etc., etc.?
So in my experience, actually, schools differ quite a lot in the extent to which they're inclined to, engage in an exercise that looks a lot like counting, and the way that voices come into that promotion process. For instance, the way that people who may write a letter of recommendation in a tenure case are the kind of people who themselves tend to count publications or don't tend to count publications, but tend to look at some other indicator of impact, surely make a significant difference in the way that that the discussion proceeds with respect to tenure. If you have a faculty that trusts the collective ability to judge impact, I think that's a very good counterweight to the inclination to count. And of course, the question mentioned specifically counting papers or counting papers in particular places. There are other kinds of counting things that can be too narrow as well. Counting citations is another great example where we might care about the extent to which, we should care about the extent to which others are paying attention to work. Numerical citations are one, but not the only way to perhaps get a sense of that as well. So I have a strong affinity for faculty who become as deeply familiar with the substance of the work and the impact that it seems to have, including impact on other scholars, as they can, and people who engage deeply in a dialogue at the time of the tenure decision about the nature of the work and the nature of its impact. I think that the best schools of management tend to have faculty who feel that confidence and are inclined to undertake those kinds of discussions. It isn't getting easier to do that as faculties get larger. How much time the faculty has to engage deeply with each person's work and the broad-based discussion among a faculty of the impact of that work, it's not getting easier, but you could argue that it may be getting even more important.